Well,
my dudes.
my overlay is not look. There we go.
Hold on one
Hello, Osmo.
moment.
My
Hello,
laptop is
Osmo.
actually frozen.
Where? Ooh. There we go. Now you can see Ray too. Hell yeah.
See
Hell
the
yeah.
both of us.
Hmm.
This is new.
Hello.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
My
Thanks
laptop
for
is
the
officially
Alexis.
frozen, so I
I
cannot see
appreciate.
the chat. I
Oh
cannot
my god,
see
all the
anything.
emotes on the screen. Ah.
I can't see anything on that, so I can't see your chat.
Oh no. It's alright, don't worry.
It's fine.
I'll
It
read
will
my
fix
chat. It's all
itself.
good. It's fine.
This is gonna be the chillest stream ever.
We have a chill stream today, yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Very chill indeed. So chill. I've got my Capri Sun.
Hi, Leah.
Hey, Leah.
I couldn't remember what your new username was for a minute.
Wow. You.
Hi. It's so cool. It looks so cool. I was like, where does that ring a bell? It rings a bell. It's alright, don't worry. Yeah. I thought I would say now that, like, the connection may disappear with Ray at the moment. But
Yeah,
it will
I
come
have
back in a
very
minute. It's fine.
temperamental Wi-Fi right now. So
Yeah, it's fine. We're just gonna
We're gonna
embrace
hope
it.
for the
We're
best.
embracing it.
Yeah. Hey, hi, hello, Morgan.
Hey,
My
Morgan.
stream's already disconnected.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I think I'm over all my identity crises now. Hell yeah! Hi Lexi, welcome to the
Well,
stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
that was a really good start.
And she's back.
And
Just
I'm
see you
back.
start moving again. Hell yeah! And with a
I
hand.
love how we've absolutely had zero problems up until the moment we hit live.
I had a feeling that would happen because every time we've tried to do it with like the multicam, it's fine until the moment we press stream and it's like, nah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not having it.
Yeah. You did wake up just in time, Morgan. You did.
Hell yeah!
Although this is at the rate we're going, this is going to be a one-sided stream.
I mean, if the videos go or something happens, then we can easily just put our placeholders up and then just talk. And if that doesn't work, then we'll just mime at each other.
That doesn't work. We'll create a full 30-slide presentation for you that you can read.
Give us 10 minutes, we'll knock up a quick presentation and fling it up on the screen.
Yeah.
I have heard of Five Nights at Freddy's. Hell yeah.
That's
I've never played that.
Not working over there.
Ah, it's alright. We're just gonna wing it.
Right.
Right.
Yes. So this stream is very chill. I can't see the list that we put together because it's.
Alright. Give me a moment.
We were just gonna talk about creativity.
Yeah, we want to talk about being creative and having a good time. Because in the current climate, not going to mention too much about the climate, but
it's very hard.
Things have changed for a lot of people, and a lot of people are relying on being creative or creative things to sort of keep going, especially with everyone in lockdown and obviously not many people working and stuff. But
yes,
yeah, but it's just one of those things, unfortunately. But it's cool. So we should probably talk about how we started really and what we're planning.
We probably should.
Yeah.
That would be a smart.
Basically, I'm Foxy. That's Ray.
Hi.
Hi. And we graduated last year in last year. God. In the middle of a pandemic. Yeah, we graduated 2 weeks into lockdown. Officially?
No. We were doing our work till like May.
Were we? Oh God, I can't remember anymore. Like it's been so long.
A lot of us had extended hand-ins. Actually, no. I think
that's true.
We handed in, I think, about 2 weeks before what would have been graduation, so it was like the end of May.
Yeah.
I don't actually know if my stream is running because, as far as I'm aware, it's
running
frozen.
for me.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Yeah.
But yeah.
So we very much finished in lockdown.
Yeah, we were working, doing online sessions. Still working creatively. Luckily, our course continued to run because we didn't have anything that we needed at uni in the time. So we just ended up just moving all of our lectures online, and that was pretty much it. And then we would do workshops, and we were doing our own thing anyway because it was our final project. So we were just writing constantly. I basically wrote a load of crap within 2 weeks, I think. I had a lot of essay to catch up on. And I wrote a load. I
expect to walk away from this stream with the ability to write an entire novel.
Well, yes.
You'll have the mindset for one.
Yes. We could do that. Yeah, you have the mindset. Yeah, exactly.
We'll give you all of our ability. No pressure.
We will give all. We will just give
you
all
of our secrets.
All the secrets. Mainly caffeine and sleepless nights. That's usually the.
No, you're forgetting. It's actually hot chocolate and donut days.
I'm sorry, Ray. I forgot the donut days. Okay.
Do you remember any of our friendships?
No, I don't, Ray. That's the whole point. I forgot.
Well,
yeah. Well, basically, Ray and I, we became friends about half a year into uni because we were kind of awkward at the start. We didn't know anybody, and it was kind of like we just want to write stuff and learn. Oh, and then it went downhill from there.
We met 3.5 years ago, like September 2017.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time we really spoke and got on, I think was more like Halloween.
Yes,
it was. We didn't really hang out and talk properly until
chatting.
February. So we've known each other as friends for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah,
it's been a wild ride.
It has been a wild ride.
Yeah, there's been something eventful that happened every year at uni, and then obviously the last straw was COVID.
I still remember. 'Cause I remember being the only person in on one of the days, and it was the final week that the uni was open before it closed because of COVID. And I remember sitting in the room alone and thinking, "It's fine. We're gonna close for an extra week, and then we have Easter, and then everything's gonna blow over, and we're gonna come back, and things will be fine." And I think that's the mindset a lot of. I know, how naive. And I think that's the mindset a lot of us had. Was we'll be fine.
I expected the worst, which is what happened.
And then we ended up. I actually have a picture. I have the screenshot of us in a video call.
Do you? Oh,
so this is how we ended up doing uni. Endless 8-hour calls where we didn't talk to each other.
Yeah, we were sat in our comfy, fluffy jackets did our own thing and chilled, didn't we?
Yeah, Morgan, you're already halfway there. You are halfway there.
I was going to say, caffeine, sleepless nights. I do that already. Where's my book?
Yeah.
I mean...
Hello, Osmo. But yeah, this was us. Literally a year ago.
I just realised my stream can't see this, but it's fine.
No. But for my stream, this was us a year ago. Pretty much doing exactly what we're doing now.
Yeah, we were sat, I had no makeup on. I had messy hair. We had fluffy jumpers on, white fluffy jumpers that matched. For those people watching, we were just sat, just going, and smiling to the camera, which is sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty much how the last year's gone. It is, Osmo. It is indeed. You're also everyone's creative. Matching dressing gowns, hell yeah. Hi, Hugh.
Yeah, basically. I actually have it right here. This white fluffy thing.
I'm wearing a different white fluff, but I do have it still. We
wore them with the hoods up, and we were just pretty much at rock bottom at that point, or close to rock bottom. But
yeah. Sometimes I think of taping a chair to a table and use it to slide on the snow. It's creativity. Yeah. You're thinking outside the box.
Speaking of snow, we actually had some today.
We did. I think it's stopped now.
It has stopped now. It's been flurrying on and off.
It's blue sky and sunny now.
Yeah. It got very dark all of a sudden, ruined our lighting that we had set up, and then flurried for about, 5 minutes?
Yeah. 2 days ago we had beach weather. 2 days later we have snow. And now we're back to sun and blue sky.
Welcome to the UK, my dudes. It happens a lot.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting kind of experience going through uni in a pandemic.
Yeah, because we've obviously not been to uni before. And it was a first time experience. Like the first year we were nervous and scared and sort of didn't know what to expect. We didn't have much expectations of how creative we were going to be. And I just thought, I just want to learn some writing, my dudes, because I already wrote before that. I wrote a lot, and I was just like, well, I can't string a word or a sentence together, so why not get taught professionally? And then, we met up, and then the second year we were doing more community projects, so we were working in the...
we did that in the final year.
Oh, Ray's just Ray's just gonna correct me on everything I get wrong.
I mean, but no, to be fair, we got very lucky because with our community projects, because some of us did them virtually anyway, some of us were doing them in person.
I'm so glad I did mine virtually.
We ran our projects like a month before lockdown.
Yeah, we had no idea it was coming. And we finished it just before the January. It was January we finished it, right?
No, I was teaching school throughout February.
Oh yeah. It was the end. I think I finished the middle of February, and I spent longer working on the blog that we did to join it.
Yeah, the 24th I think was my final one, which is literally exactly a month before we went into lockdown.
Yeah, and we were just finishing up, and then we were getting started with our final project, which was 20,000 word extract of writing and stuff. So I basically had mine planned out from the get-go, but then realised I hated it and rewrote it.
And I think it's one of those things where you suddenly, because like, I don't know if Foxy felt the same. I think she probably did. Like, we learned better in our like room at uni. You just had
we literally had a small boardroom, essentially like a meeting room, conference room, whatever you want to call it.
Atmosphere, and so trying to write like anywhere else.
16 at the end? 16 of us, roughly.
There was not that many people. But there was about 4 of us coming in.
Yeah, that's a different story.
we skipped past that. Yeah. Creativity calls to people in different ways. And I think like, so to learn anywhere else was hard. And I know that at one point when we video called throughout the first lockdown, we both used virtual backgrounds and pretended we were in our room.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you have pizza as a pizza topping, is it a double pizza or a pizza with pizza? Well,
that's a question. That's a question.
As a
we actually got another question from Morgan saying, why phone? Why phone? Oh, if you're wondering why my video capture is not great, it is because I'm screenshotting it from Discord, because OBS does not like me using my webcam and Discord at the same time, because you can't use camera for both. So what is Alan? Alan is watching something on TV. I don't know.
Watching Homeland and playing Minecraft.
All the time he's playing Minecraft and stuff. I finished all my user testing, without which I'd not been able to write my dissertations. Like you guys were. Yeah, I think a lot of us were very lucky because. Yeah, we wrote
that's a lot.
Because of our 20,000 word project, our dissertation was only 5,000, which we did before Christmas.
Yeah.
So we'd already done the essay part of it. We just
in hindsight, it was planned very well, considering without any foresight of what was coming. So
it worked out in our favor. I think the best way it could have. For sure. Hello, Oiva. Hello.
Hi, Oiva. Hello.
It is pizza, yes. But yeah, I think we did get lucky.
I think it also helped that the skills we'd learned and all the stuff, like obviously we'd made friends and stuff. If we hadn't have done that, this lockdown would have been a hell of a lot different, because we wouldn't have had many people to talk to at all. I don't think I would be talking to anyone at this point except my husband, obviously. But
because I think we created
it's been
quite a
godsend,
solid group.
because we now have the skills to write and actually work towards projects that could become like that could earn us money and stuff and keep us going, because luckily a lot of creative stuff you can do online that you don't need to be in person for, which has become very very helpful. Hi Staffer, welcome to the chat.
We've learned a lot of skills that we implement just like in life and in Twitch and I find it weird though, like if lockdown hadn't have happened, how the end of uni would have gone. And, like,
we would have actually had a graduation ceremony, yeah.
Like there's so many things that you think, okay, although this has been a crap year, you have to think of like some of the good things that came out of it.
I was amazingly positive during that month of lockdown.
I was.
That's the thing, people deal with that sort of thing differently. Like, I was like, right, this is the time, like there was no stress about, like, finding work straight after uni, because you couldn't, no one was going anywhere, so I was like, right, okay, I'm going to work on myself and do things I want to do. I made a huge Excel spreadsheet, colour-coded it and everything, I was like, catch up on this TV show, finally finish this book I was reading.
I remember you made that.
Finally do this, and I'm still doing it. I'm not doing it as quickly as I was, but I was going through it, like, at a rate of knots. It was just like, I want to finish the game. Right, done that. Check it off the list, and it was great. It was a good shout, and it's still there, and I can look back at it and see the dates and stuff, or when I finish things and think, oh yeah, I've done quite a lot this year. Like, because a lot of people are thinking, it's like, oh god, this year's been so messed up and stuff, but you have to remember there's been some positives there. If you don't have a list of things you've done to, like, not cheer yourself up, but things you've done that in a positive way, then it's really, really hard to deal with. But yeah, it's been interesting.
It has indeed. Oh my god, it's loading. I can see your chat now.
And
I can see our list. Woo!
I said why phone because it was typed questions. So, oh, okay, Morgan's fighting with technology again.
Oh, of course.
I mean, that's a whole other thing. With technology has been very helpful recently.
Yeah.
Like, if we started using Discord properly in the first lockdown. We made a uni squad account, didn't we?
Nerds.
The uni nerds, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the uni nerds chat where we would catch up, and we used it a couple of times, and then obviously Twitch happened.
We used it. Yeah, we used it for stuff, and we did D&D with it to kind of keep ourselves something to do.
We had like catch ups every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, which was fun. And then it sort of fizzled out. Everyone was doing their own thing, and then that Discord descended into a D&D nerd space so fast. It did, Leah, it did.
It did.
And then it sort of fizzled out when, like, people were moving away, and
it's just that moment when we
like
came out the first lockdown.
The first lockdown ended, everyone's like, right, everything's back to normal, everyone was busy, and then second lockdown came, and then it kind of drew to a halt, and then everyone's like,
we're not even
by this point by this point we were just tired and fed up.
At this point we were streaming.
At this point we were streaming, yeah. How did we even get started streaming? I can't even remember anymore. What is it, 7 months ago now, roughly?
Yeah, 7 months. For me, it was 7 months, 3 days ago.
Yeah. When is it? About 7 months, 5 days ago.
I just remember we played games together, and I don't know how it happened, but I know that you started
I think it led from Discord, because we were on D&D, and we were just playing, like, I didn't play D&D properly, because my brain does not catch up with that sort of stuff. And we were just like, let's see what other games, and then Fall Guys came out, and everyone was talking about it so much, and we were just like, shall we get it and just play? So Fall Guys is the first game we ever played together. And because we both got it, we could join it, and we were disconnecting every 10 minutes. I remember you couldn't jump or anything.
When I first started streaming, I did it from my laptop. And I don't know how. Yeah. Well, it wasn't a good stream.
I was lucky about this this computer, because Alan bought it for his doctorate, and he's currently doing like the righty side of things, so he's not going to be needing it for a little while yet. But it was insane, and then it was just like, you know what, I might as well use it. It's just sat here, and then it was like, let's just start it. And then I said, oh, people have been like, because I was watching loads of YouTubers playing it, and then they only did like about 20-30 minutes, and I was like, no, I want to watch more. So I went on. I was like, people keep talking about Twitch. I'm gonna have a look and see what it's all about. And then I thought, they're doing exactly what we do when we play together. And then we just thought, well, I was like, I'll give it a shot. And then you basically joined like about a week after me.
Yeah, I was like, let's get both perspectives, and then we just kept it going. Okay, so Foxy,
I feel like first I saw you guys playing things on like Fall Guys on streams, and that was the gateway drug to stream.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So Hugh said, have either of you tried to create something in lockdown but then just not been happy with it and binned it? Because I do this all the time and struggle to keep going when it happens. Yes.
Short answer, yes. Long answer, fuck yes.
I think not even just...
a lot of things have started and stopped. Because...
Yeah, and not even just with lockdown, but just generally, I feel like you start something and then you just hit a brick wall.
Yeah, because sometimes things don't work out, and sometimes you won't figure out why. And sometimes you just got to let it go and just start something else.
Let it go.
Let it go. Like, run out in the snow.
Learning the way that you can get over the mental blocks, like for writing, for me.
Yeah, we learned a lot in uni, didn't we, about like overcoming blocks and what to do when you can't write for shit.
Personally, I normally just stop writing the project for a bit.
Yeah.
And like
sometimes stop writing altogether is a good shout.
Trying to from a book. Sometimes, like for me, like writing a book, if I'm really stuck, it's normally over the description and like how I want something to go. So sometimes I just literally think about what the character is gonna say, and I'll literally just write dialogue and nothing else. I won't add any description. It won't be good. No one besides me knows what's happening. But then sometimes it can spark an idea and I can be like, oh, I did this.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just give it to someone else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what should I do?
That was the best part of uni, was sharing with others, I think. Because it was just like, it's like, I've been looking at this story for ages. Something's wrong with it. I don't know what it is. Yeah, yeet, and send it to someone else.
Pretty much. Like lately, I didn't touch my novel for so long.
I still haven't touched it. It's been 7 months. Because
the last time I wrote it was during the first lockdown. Haven't touched it in a year. I sent it to Morgan. Morgan read it and came back to me with all of this feedback and like praise for it. And I was in like, although I haven't got back to writing it yet, my brain has been going with ideas again.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay. It's
amazing what triggers that, and then you have to sit down and type something or you forget it. It's an interesting thing. What was it that happened to me the other day? I was listening to a song and then the lyrics were just really, really perfect for what I was trying to come up with. And then like it was like, oh,
I love it when that happens. I just realised I have no music playing.
It was just like, wait, hang on, I figured it out. Like a plot hole or something that's taken ages to figure out. And a single song comes along like on random on Spotify, and then you think, wait. Hang on, get me a pen.
Yeah.
Hi Trey, welcome. 1 year since I touched my book. I mean, same. Same.
Oh my god. I feel like my chat is having an existential crisis over
I can see they're talking about pizza.
If each of the mini pizzas are different kinds of pizza, then it could be pizza with pepperoni, Hawaiian, and it could be anything.
Oh my god. Pizza. Pizza
yeah, I feel like they're having an existential crisis.
Who was it that ordered pizza at uni? Or was that a different uni I was thinking of?
I don't remember that. Was I not there?
I don't know. It might have been somewhere else. I'm not sure.
Morgan.
I'm pretty sure there was hi God, welcome. And Victoria, hello. I think it was, I don't know if it was Alan's uni or ours, but no, I think it was Craig from uni, like when he did his community project and then had pizza afterwards. I think it was him anyway.
Maybe, honestly,
I don't know anymore. I don't
at this point. I don't even remember what happened last week.
I know, that's the thing, like, when time does not really matter, when you're just at home doing the same thing every day.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you
But it was like earlier when it was suddenly 3 o'clock and it was
all you know is daylight and darkness. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you really need to
Yeah.
know. And then obviously the clock's changed in the UK, so it's light at 8 o'clock now in the evening, and we're just like,
right now, and it's
like, wow, I'm so wide awake.
Outside.
It's like, oh, we should probably have dinner soon. It should be 5 in a minute, and you think, oh crap, it's actually 8 o'clock. But yeah, it's pretty. We'll probably discuss a little bit. We'll have a bit of a Q&A session near the end if you want to ask questions and stuff. But
okay,
we've got like
Hugh's got a question.
I see the question. Yeah, do you want to read it out while I go over something?
Yeah, sure, because your chat obviously can't see it. Okay, so is there a specific time you think you get inspiration most often? For me, it's when I'm walking to work, walking the dog, or taking a long shower for a change, and some idea just pops into my head. I know I do visual stuff. I used to be good at portraits, and process may be different.
I feel like the creative process is similar in ways.
Yeah.
Like with writing, I visualize my books in my head. I can watch it like a movie in my head, and that's how I do that. Because my first book idea was literally just, I had an image of like a weird looking, like it looked like a cliff, but it was like a bright red, like an unnatural red. So I thought, oh, okay, it's like an alien-y planet sort of thing. That's quite cool. And then I had the idea of someone standing at the top of it, and she had like the brightest red hair, and I was just like, and then she fell, and I was like, holy shit. And that was literally the first scene that I got from my book. And the one I still haven't written yet. I've written everything but that scene.
I love it. Yeah, I think I definitely get most of my ideas when I'm like out for a walk or in the shower too.
It's when you're doing something quite not monotonous. Like walking is quite repetitive. It's when your brain wanders. It's like, right, I'm going to be walking for a while. My brain will wander, and then you get the ideas. Then Trey actually did say that. Where is it? Best place to solve plot holes: shower and the toilet with music on.
The shower is my favourite place.
It's when you're not at your desk. It's when you're away from somewhere you can write stuff down. That's when it usually happens.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I've been struggling with a stupid idea all morning. The instant you get away from somewhere where you can write it down without your phone, or you're away from your desk, it will come to you like that.
Oh yeah, always. The thing is, I sometimes have like dreams, and the dreams will be really like elaborate and great, and I'll wake up at like 3 a.m. from this dream. I'll write the whole thing down on my phone, thinking it's absolutely amazing, and I'll wake up the next morning, and I'll fully be able to remember the dream, but I'll be like, why did I think it was so good? There are so many plot holes that I can see here from just the paragraph.
Yeah. A couple of my stories started like that, and then I thought, that's the best idea. I actually told our lecturer about it, and I was just like, this is a fucking amazing idea. And I was just like, it has this, and he goes, what happens if this happens in the book? And I'm like, the whole plot just went, it was like, oh, well, shit. But that's the thing, like, people think like writing is so glamorous. It really isn't, is it?
It's really not. I mean, that's why we decided to make this such a chill stream.
Because it's not sitting like, what's his face? I can't remember. This is what it's like. It's my brain just stops working. It's not sitting down like by candlelight like Charles Dickens or something with a fucking quill and just writing things down.
Banging your head against the desk for 3 hours because you can't think of a synonym for a certain word.
Yeah, it's just like, I've said the too many times. What's a synonym for the?
Morgan, we all know you get some strange dreams.
Hello, God, welcome. Let's see what the synonyms. I hate that. I know. It's like you've used the word great 50 times in this one paragraph, and you're like,
but on the line of synonyms and like changing words, do you know one thing that always bugs me? How when you're young, you start being told, like when you write stories, to be like, he said, she said, blah blah blah, and then you get to secondary school and they're like, you can't keep using the word said.
Don't use said. Make it in more interesting. No. That's such a hard lesson to learn. You realise it, and it's
and they're like, just say said, or you know what, get it in the right place so you don't have to say anything at all because it's obvious who's speaking. And I was just like, this is the other thing. I feel like when I went to uni, I had to relearn how to write.
Yes.
Like creatively.
I realised I was doing it wrong the entire time.
The way that school teaches you here in the UK is wrong. like on industry standard and how you're supposed to do it.
That's the thing. I don't think there is a right and wrong answer. With punctuation, yes, there are some rules that you kind of have to follow, but you can break them if you need to and you have a reason for doing it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Synonym hue, not cinnamon.
Cinnamon, oh.
Ray, is your desk from IKEA? Yes. Are you saying that because you know that this is from IKEA? They bellowed, spoke, they uttered, but yeah, legit hue.
Leah says, also the whole no adverbs rule. Sometimes adverbs are appropriate, gosh dang it.
Yeah. Same with, like, cliches.
Like, use it if you have a reason to use it. Like, if it looks like a mistake, then yeah.
Yeah. Like, I used to have the odd cliches, and they'd be like, it's a cliche, don't use it. And I'm like, but the cliche works.
But what if the character talks in cliches? That's the thing.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's a cliche, everyone uses it, but everyone uses it, and it works.
Yeah, exactly.
More cinnamon better, but hell yeah.
What I read a while ago about the whole using said, he said, she said thing, was that if you use, like, big words, like he said dramatically, it slows everything down and you can't avoid that word. With said, you can... It goes over everyone's heads because they're just reading the dialogue. So it's like, oh, he said that, okay, that's fine. It's like, he said that dramatically, and now you're imagining him how he's saying this thing dramatically, and it's really awkward, and it slows down the pacing of everything, and it just... If it's necessary, if there's a reason why they're saying it in a certain way, then use it, but otherwise, 9 out of 10 times, don't use big words that aren't necessary. Yeah. Like, 9 times out of 10. But yeah, they are a minefield, Leah. They are exactly a minefield. There's some, like, we went over different, like, writers that do that sort of stuff. And there was one that was just he said, she said, he said, she said. And it was so, like, oh my God, my brain. And then, but then there was one that had so many big words. Like, he exclaimed, he yelled, he did this or she did that. And it's like...
gets tired.
It's tiring because your brain is trying to imagine that person yelling it. And if they said something like F you to a character, then you're obviously going to think, yep, they're yelling that because it's obvious. You don't need to tell them what they already know, sort of thing. Yeah. But it's a thing. Everyone does it differently. There's, like, no right or wrong thing. You just do what you want. That's the whole thing. It's like you've always been taught to follow the rules and stuff, but there's really, you don't need to. You really don't need to. You can do what you want.
And I think that's the thing that people forget, like, with writing and just, like, generally with anything creative. Creativity comes from, like, working things out for yourself and not doing things the right way and thinking outside of the box. So sometimes rules are made to be broken.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you aren't supposed to follow them. And, like, yeah, with writing you have grammar rules, which you do have to stick to. But at the same time, if you're going for an abstract piece and the point is to not be grammatically correct...
do it.
It's not wrong. It's just your viewpoint and how you look at it.
And that's the thing. People reading your stuff will either like it or not like it. And that's okay. Because everyone's different. At the end of the day,
it's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone. And if you try and focus on making it for everyone, you're going to be editing it forever.
Yeah. And, like, the thing is, you have to think about who you give your work to because they might not even be your target audience.
Like, ultimately, write for yourself. Write because you want to write it, not because someone told you to, because you can feel that someone was forced to write something. Or forced to do something, and you can see it, you can feel it, and it's... Yeah.
And I think that's a good life lesson, is just anything you do in life, you have to do for yourself, because...
If you're not going to enjoy it, then people are going to know that you didn't enjoy it, and probably they won't enjoy it either, because it's a tough one, but... If you want to write it and someone says, oh, you shouldn't write that because that's not in the market right now. Fuck the market. Do what you want.
It's like, well, it doesn't matter about the market, and the market changes all the time, so it's eventually going to be something that the market wants.
It's like the whole Twilight and vampire books. There were so many and it got so tiring, but someone comes along, writes a different story with a different style, something more unique, and you think, holy shit, that's really good. And then obviously when that sort of fad dies down, then it's fine. And it comes back. Like, things come back, and then another vampire movie will come out in, I don't know, in like 4 or 5 years' time, and then it will be the whole thing all over again. But because it happens.
It does, Morgan, it does. You can choose to not be grammatically correct. I am never grammatically correct, and that's fine. You
That's fine.
Never have to be grammatically correct if you don't want to.
No.
Particularly when you're not aiming for grades.
Yeah, exactly.
Do whatever.
Hang on, what was... Yeah, Zach said, he said bark, bark, she said, Wilson! Exactly.
I love it.
Every writing style has people who will appreciate it, and I totally agree. Being true to yourself is the most important thing. Hell yes. Hell
and
yes,
that stretches to
yeah, exactly. Trey said earlier that he's currently stuck on a scene that will not make it into his book because it's so dark and horrible, but I have to write it out so I know what's going to happen and so I can reference it, but it's so horrible what I have planned for a character. Oh, I've been there. There's been so much crap that I put my characters through. I'm surprised that they're still alive, to be perfectly honest.
That's things when they say if you don't know what to write, or like you have to think of what could go wrong and make it go wrong, or you think about how can I destroy my character and do it. It makes things interesting.
Because that's how characters grow. You can grow via good things happening to you, but if everything happened to you that was good, then
you wouldn't.
It would just, like, if they have the world handed to them on a plate, then they're gonna be the most egotistical person ever. But
this is why I took the what can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah, I love that technique. It's just like if the plot's not going anywhere, how can you fuck it up?
My novel that I'm writing, in chapter 1, well, actually even in the prologue, within the first paragraph, my main character dies.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say anything more than that because
spoilers.
But like, you know, and that's doing it a little differently because normally it's like, well, I want to introduce my character, we need to get to know them and then I'll kill them. No, let's just cut to the chase and kill them.
Yeah, the worst that could happen.
Inciting incident immediately happens.
Yeah, but that starts a story, so it doesn't slowly build up, because sometimes that doesn't work either.
And I think the thing is as well, you've got to think about the end result and like what you're going to learn throughout the book, and it's like, well, we don't care, like we'll learn about it, but we don't care about the character when she's alive right now. Yeah. We don't care about the person she was.
No, it's what happens to her next that people are interested in.
What's next? Yeah.
What's Trey put? Yeah, but it's the cardinal sin of writing in the sense of how detailed I want to make it, but it actually horrifies me. I mean...
Bad thing that it horrifies you, because that means it's good writing.
Yeah. If that's what you're going for, if you want to horrify someone, that's how you do it. Because, like, horror writing, I've read some stuff that made me nearly throw up. Like, the image of it alone was powerful enough to make me want to be sick. But if something happens to your character, it must be for a reason, not just for hell's sake of it. It has to like move like the plot along. But yeah, I think if it works, do it. Do it. But we're happy to read stuff. We read stuff on a regular basis. So, but yeah. Hi, Temple. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And I think like the other thing to note is that although, like, you know, everyone in chat and everyone here knows us as streamers, they know us as gamers and whatever, and normally when they talk to us, it's either through our Discord servers or Twitch chat.
It's usually Twitch related, isn't it?
Yeah,
we don't talk
Twitch
about
related, but if you have legitimate questions about writing and about creativity, or you have story ideas that you want to run past us, we're pretty well versed in that area. You know.
Wait, so you don't believe in the fact that bad things can... Oh yeah, bad things can happen with no reason whatsoever. But as long as for the sake of stories, if it pushes the character in the right direction, that makes things interesting. Eventually, like they could be in the absolute shit, and they could be like, where the fuck do I go from here, sort of thing. But it's what makes them grow, and that's where the character needs to go. Yeah,
because in terms of story writing, if it's not adding to the plot and it's not adding,
it would just you'll get people asking why did you do that to them, because that's
if
not
you're
related
gonna have
to
something
the story.
happen, like if suddenly in this scene we learn that they've got a dog and then you kill the dog and then we don't hear about the dog again, what was the point?
What's the point?
If the dog's death doesn't bring anything to the story later on, you don't need it. she doesn't need a dog.
The amount of stuff that I really loved, I've had to cut out because of that very reason, because it didn't make any sense. It didn't move the plot along whatsoever. And it's the same thing when your characters, like, the character knows exactly what to do at the right time. That can sort of feel like my character was finding out all the information. Like, she had to, like, unfoil a really big plot that was going down at this sort of, like, secret facility sort of thing. And she would find all the evidence really quickly, and it was way too easy. And my lecturer was just like, she's finding all this out way too quickly. And he goes, I know that you know how she's going to find it, but you have to make people, like, understand that it's complicated. So she has to struggle. There has to be a struggle there. But yeah, as long as it moves the plot along, do it.
Her character didn't even get to say hello. It literally started with, well, shit, I guess I'm dead. It did, Morgan. If you kill the dog, I'm burning the book. There isn't a dog in my book, so...
I've actually put books down before when they've done it, like we were just saying, like, they kill a character off for no reason whatsoever. And I
killed a character off in my book, but I did it well.
Yeah.
I think.
You do that very well, actually.
Morgan hates me for it, because it was a complete twist.
That's the thing, like, it's when you share your work and people get actually angry at you, and it's just like, why the fuck did you do this? And it's just like, moves the plot along, doesn't it?
It does, and I think this is the interesting thing, and like, as a creative person, as a writer, and just generally if you're planning something, always plan loosely and know that you're probably not going to stick to it, because like, I know that a ton of things that happen in my book, including that death, were never planned. They were never supposed to happen, and a lot of the people who were like antagonists and those that were protagonists actually switched, and they were completely different people because other characters grew on me when I didn't plan them to be that way. But it's like they do have a life of their own.
That's the thing though, like real people, like if we talk about real people, they're unpredictable. They can change so quickly, and if you plan a character to death, like I did for my first book, I planned it out to the word almost, and it went completely off track.
Yeah.
Within 2 I outlined every chapter, all 20 chapters. I outlined every single bit, what happened in every single one, start to finish. And I got to chapter 1.5, halfway into chapter 2, when things took a turn, and everything changed from then on. So all that work I'd done planning went to shit. I spent a whole month planning that, and that's it. That's why some people don't plan at all. It's whatever works for you, really.
I normally loosely plan the first 2 chapters. I have plot points of things that I need to hit throughout the book, but I don't tell myself how I'm going to get there. And then I have an end goal of how I want the book to end and what the kind of point of the book is that I make up.
Yeah, that's good.
Kill the dog, but don't jump the shark. Can you kill a character off and move on to another character in a book without it being a total waste? Yeah.
There's ways to do it, yeah.
Yeah. There is
one of the things I saw it, I think it was actually on Tumblr years ago, when someone said, I want there to be it was just like, it was back in the days when there weren't many female superheroes, and they were getting annoyed at like all of the Dorito shaped dudes like Chris Evans as Captain America and all that sort of stuff, and they thought, I just want one film where it's this superhero dude, or like this like masculine character, and then he like dies really quickly, and everyone's like, oh shit, is he gonna come back to life, what the hell? And then basically his either partner is so like angry at the fact that he died that she becomes a superhero for him, and then she's the actual character. And it was something along those lines, and I was like, I fucking love that shit.
That's
like
good.
Yeah, you work around it, you can do it. Yeah, definitely, there's ways to do it.
I made sad crying noises when it happened. Good
sad
Morgan.
crying noises.
I usually tend to love characters that are designed to be a little rough or disliked, because they usually tend to be the most honest and genuine. So chat won't know what I'm talking about when I say this, but Foxy will and Morgan will. My character Dale in my book, he's kind of that rough guy who you assume to be this kind of cold-hearted guy who shrugs everyone off. But once you actually break that shell, there is the most honest and genuine guy under there who actually has such a loving heart for people. But you don't see that all the time.
Yeah, they're those good moments when you're just like, I really fucking hate this character. I hate them. I hate them. And then they do one simple thing, and then you think, oh, that punched me in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Great.
Guys, you got Squirrel Girl? What here?
Hugh's gone crazy. Trey says, I see your point. It will get reference and have an impact, but it wouldn't technically change the plot if it didn't happen. Right, okay. But that's the thing. If it doesn't change the plot, but it kind of does, it has significance, that's fine. If it's significant for a reason, then yeah.
I think worst comes to worst, write it, and then you've got it.
Yeah, if you're not sure, just write it, and it may be, like, really, like, horrific if you, like, really detail it. But sometimes you'll look at it, and if you read it along with the rest of it, you think, it kind of doesn't fit, or it fits too well, and then you think, oh, hell yeah. And then it works. But never, one of the rules that we were taught is never delete anything.
I was going to say, yeah, always write your ideas down.
Keep it, because there's so many scenes that I really loved, and I hated to get rid of them, but they work better in other projects. And even, I've had 2 book ideas that never went anywhere. I had really good characters for one book, but the story was shit. And then one book where the story was great, but the characters were shit. So I just merged the 2 together. And it was like, fuck yeah! And it actually worked. It's just one of those things.
Yes, Morgan, I remember you saying, and you're not wrong, he probably does love cats. And I see you. I see you. I'm uneducated.
Zach says, I hate characters like that, to be honest. Even if they punch you in the face, I still hate that because it be me. Swear I hate this character in this book, and I'm like dreading to skip their parts. I mean, I have skipped parts of a book before. If it's bounced between perspectives of loads of different characters and one of them you don't really like that much, it
you
can
just
be
kind
a
of
bit
skip
like...
it and think, yeah, I'll get it through the other characters.
I just get it. It's fine. Think about it, it would affect the second protagonist, but not the primary viewpoint protagonist. That's cool, because they're still there to help put your character, the main character, through it. So it doesn't have to always happen to the main character. It happens to their friends, but it affects them, like, indirectly. So that would work. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah.
I'm looking at our list.
Got the list up.
Kinda.
We should probably talk about how we start new projects, really.
Yeah, because that kind of links into what we've been talking about.
Yeah. Let me see if I've missed any. God said, yeah, I like that format, because if you know about the outcome, you're much more curious of how or what happened, that was the result, and I've seen that happen in many good movies. Hell yeah.
And I think, like, in terms of, like, planning and kind of knowing what the end is, but keeping the middle very, very loose, means that as the writer, you experience the book like the reader does, and you're also, like, in shock when things happen. Like, I know that when one of my characters went completely against what the plan was, I suddenly felt betrayed, like I know that Morgan did, because I was like, wait, what is happening? Oh my god, this is the book. This is how it's going. Yeah.
It's good though, because that way it's gonna surprise people, because it's genuine, because it surprised you mainly, which is great.
Yeah. And I knew what was supposed to be happening.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you have like a basic sort of structure where you sort of, it's like the big main plot points, the big ones, that you know these things would have to happen, and then the rest of it is sort of workable.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to avoid plot holes that way if you don't plan it and then realise, you think, oh wait, hang on, they can't do this now because I put that in, sort of thing. Just wing it. Like,
keep
sort of,
things open.
Yeah, just sort of work it to whatever you feel is going to be better for you, because sometimes if you plan it too much, it doesn't work. Sometimes people plan it completely, and that works too. Just it's one of those things. Everyone's different, and everyone's beginning process is different too.
Osmo said, have you thought about the fact that your brain can be surprised of a dream that it made itself?
Oh gosh, yeah, it's clever, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm still recovering. Ray, why did you traumatize Morgan? Well, I didn't aim to, but my book clearly had the effect that I wanted it to.
Exactly, yeah.
Because Morgan is still suffering the effects of the plot.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask what your process is for starting new projects, Ray.
So again, and I think this is like, there's the stereotype with writers that your process is always, I'm going to sit down with my notebook and you plan everything out really neatly and everything just comes so perfectly to you and the ideas just pop out of nowhere. And for some people it is like that.
Sometimes you got to force it.
For me, I'm normally scrolling Pinterest at 3 a.m. I see a nice piece of dialogue or like just this idea or vision. So I maybe I'll explain the process of my latest book.
Yeah, go
which
for
is
it.
I saw a picture of a door. It was just a door in the middle of like a clearing with trees around it, and I knew that I wanted to write like a book about magic, and my brain just went, I don't know, well, I feel like always go to what you kind of are drawn to. Like, don't force yourself to try and write something that you don't want to write. You've got to do it for yourself. And I saw this picture and I was really intrigued by it, and I was kind of like, I kind of thought of the vibe of Narnia, of like when you go through the wardrobe and there's this other world, and I was like, okay, what if we went through this door and now there's another world? But I was like, how is the world on the other side of this door? Why is the door on its own? And you just have to ask yourself these what if questions and be like, okay, well, what if this happened which caused this? And you're like, okay, but what about this? And I think it is just generally, for me, it's just a massive mess. I'll have like diagrams and I'll have different pages and nothing will actually ever be organized. I'm the most unorganized writer there is. But
same.
Yeah,
sometimes my ideas come to me either as music. It's usually something sensory based, like if I have a really like, I don't know, if you have like a really good meal at a restaurant and you think, hell yeah, and it's just like, I've never tried this before, and then you think, and then your brain starts going. Or it's a piece of music that you've never heard before, like classical music usually works well with me, or orchestral stuff.
Really, or just any instrumentals, it really gets you in a vibe.
I like planning my books visually, so if I can see them as if they were going to be made into a movie, you think, oh, this is how the character's going to look. And I've designed characters in The Sims, I've used Pinterest and made aesthetic mood boards, and Trey apparently has a Pinterest wall with just scenes for books on. Yep. Same.
I have so my Pinterest is actually a mess.
It's full of like quotes, and there's pictures, and there's just aesthetic stuff that have no context to them, but you put the context out yourself because that's But music sounds like, you know, when we did the, what was it found writing or found words or something?
Oh yeah, we did like found text.
That was it. Thank you. Found text. Yeah, that was fun. We basically went around our uni and we were sort of like told to find pieces of writing that we found interesting anywhere, like labels, wrappers on the floor,
like vinyl.
Fucking we'll come to Matt Vinyl in a minute,
come back to that.
Because that was fucking genius, even though he hates it. But what was it? There was wasn't there like an electrical pipe under the floor?
Yeah.
And it had like a really funny, like, I don't know, it just seemed really funny to us at the time. But like anything like word related, if it's like, I don't know, you see like an advert on the side of a bus or something, just coming up with stuff like that. And the best one was our friend came up with a character from, what was it, a paint can?
It was a paint can.
It was a paint can, and it had matte vinyl, so it's obviously matte vinyl paint. And he came up with a character called Matt Vinyl, and he was, what was he?
It was
the like, backstory was brilliant.
something attorney at law.
It was something like environmentalist attorney at law or something, and it was he made like a whole sitcom. It was the most beautiful thing we'd ever seen.
And it came from found text of just Matt Vinyl. Yeah.
And then every time we say Matt Vinyl now, he goes, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because we loved it so much, it became a meme at uni, didn't it? Just like, it was like, oh, here you go, here's Matt Vinyl.
Yeah, I'm not sorry about anything, Morgan. And creativity is messy here. It's very messy.
It is, yeah.
But I think messy creativity is the best.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Where everything comes from.
Yeah, because like making anything is a mess. I want to recommend the music from Peter Crowley or Christopher Tin. Thank you. Cool recommendation. I've heard of the names, but I'm not I can't think of any of the music at the moment. But I love listening to orchestral stuff or orchestral versions of pop songs. They're good.
Yeah.
Because that puts a whole different spin on things, and I love it.
I love punk versions of pop songs.
Yeah, really good. Like, just changing things up a bit. Like, anything that turns it on its head is great.
Yeah.
Like, we did that whole lecture on, like, subverting, like, stuff to be a bit more creative. Like, we would... Wasn't that with horror movies or horror stories we were writing?
I think so.
Yeah, there was...
Honestly, all my brain remembers is rewriting fairy tales.
Yeah, rewriting fairy tales. That was good. That was really fun. But if you're interested in some exercises that you would like to try with writing, let us know and we can post some in our Discord channels, because there's so many fun ones.
We did a lot.
That was so fucking stupid.
It was.
Morgan's going through the emotions again.
I'm so sorry. I'm like sorry, but not sorry, Morgan. Yeah, like I'm sorry that you have to feel the pain that I did when I wrote it.
It's the fact that even our lecturer was like, no spoilers. He was going through it as well, to be fair.
There came a point last year, because for my final major project, I was doing my novel, and it's something I've been working on all throughout uni. And in first year, I'd done the beginning of it, and they knew the beginning, and then I was kind of doing the ending for my final major project. It was a very full circle moment, but there were moments that they'd bring me up on something and be like, would this happen, or like, nah, this doesn't really have context, and I'm like, oh no, it's not supposed to right now, but it does later on, but I can't tell you what it is because spoilers. And they'd just be like, okay, and then later on they'd be like, oh
yeah, it'd be like, oh, that makes so much sense, so much painful sense.
I do like that the main character was just as conflicted as me and Pups.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did this to me. I did.
That's the thing, being a writer, you can really play with people's feelings quite easily.
Yes. Yes, you can.
But that's the whole point, that's the whole part of the job, really, is to do that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't feel anything for the characters, then
there's no point.
No point. Yeah.
And I think that's the other part of like the fact that creativity is messy, and you should have a very loose plan, because emotions are messy, and you're going to go through a ton of them writing it. The readers are going to go through a ton of them reading it, and your characters themselves.
There's no perfect characters either. There's no truly good character. They do stupid shit. They mess up, but that's how it becomes more real, is when they mess up and you think, oh god, you're such an idiot, and you're reading it and you're like crushing the book in your hands. It's like, why? Especially if they're a really good character and you think, why the fuck did you do that? And then it makes sense later, because then they learn and then they grow.
Hey Morgan, head pats.
Pat. Angry crying, oh no.
So I guess what this kind of leads into,
the mental blocks.
the
creative
that's where
block.
I was going to go with it.
Or the trusty writer's block. I don't think
a lot of them.
Yeah, I don't think writer's block is just for writers. I think creative block in general,
I
really.
just say creative blocks. So my question to you is, how do you generally go about getting yourself out of a mental block with
it's usually indulging in some creative stuff that's not my own. Like listening to a shit ton of music, just chilling, watching loads of stuff that I really like on Netflix, or finding something new that brings new ideas. Like, especially like, especially like if it's a film, when I usually tend to rewatch the same stuff over and over and over again until I have a bit of a creative block, and then I tend to gravitate towards new things, and then I start to get different ideas because it's obviously fresh and I've never seen it before. So usually that is how I get out of a block, is listen to music, or sometimes just nothing at all, turning everything off and just listening to nothing, and then gradually my brain is just, I need to be doing something, and it will come up with a problem, a solution to the problem that I've been having, and it'll be like, oh, that's convenient. But yeah, what about you? What is your sort of process?
In a way, I'm very similar to you. Like, I do turn to music and watching other shows to see the way other people do things, and to get ideas.
It's almost like just getting on with life, really, because obviously there's other things as well that you have to do, like just daily things. And obviously we were talking about earlier, like doing monotonous stuff, like doing the washing up, or that's usually the one where I get like ideas, is if I'm doing something that causes a lot of concentration, like physically, so you like try not to drop plates and stuff, and then you suddenly think, oh, that's it. Sort of stuff like that as well.
There are 2 other things I do, which one is to rewrite, like if it's writing, say, if it's a scene I'm stuck on and I just can't get past it, I will write it in a completely different way and let it go in a completely different direction, to see if that fixes it. The other thing,
I find that if you're stuck on something with writing, with me, if I go up 10 lines, usually no more than 10, there's a mistake or there's a plot hole that I haven't noticed.
And you can fix.
And that's why it ground to a halt all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You go up and you think, oh, I changed the name by accident. Fuck. And then you change it, and then suddenly it's like, oh, look, there it is. It's bad. It's like cars. Like, if you stall a car, you turn it off, turn it back on again.
And I think for me, the other thing is, because I'm also a songwriter, is when I'm stuck on writing fiction, I sometimes write songs. And
it's to keep the writing going without writing the thing that you're stuck on.
But in writing songs, I sometimes unconsciously end up almost writing the thoughts and feelings of my characters, or I write a song based off the plot of my book, and you suddenly get new ideas.
I found that sometimes playing games, I think, oh, how would my character react to this? And then you think, oh, I got it. And then suddenly it's like, aha, I found it.
Yeah. So Hugh said there's creative block, and then there's also creative exhaustion. Have you ever experienced the latter? I got real bad. I got it real bad in college. After 3 years, I was so stressed, so tired, and I just couldn't put much together anymore. I was burnt out bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. That's a truth that a lot of people experience, whether it's creative or not. It's the exhaustion, because obviously we were studying as well as writing, because we were writing dissertations alongside novels and switching back and forward.
Essays, and you have to learn the theory behind writing.
There's theory behind writing. There's writing essays and writing in completely different styles. So writing academically, then creatively, and then trying to do the 2 in such quick succession. And then obviously with the lockdown and everything, our brains just fucking turned off at one point.
I know for a fact.
I think that was that photo you showed us when we were completely creative. Just null, just nothing, just that picture was just...
This was us smiling through the pain of not knowing what the heck we were doing.
Yeah.
And I think, like...
We didn't even talk about writing, I think we just talked about, just like, hey...
At this point, I know that when this screenshot was, I was in complete creative exhaustion. I don't think I was writing...
Sometimes if you get like a creative block, you can sometimes write through it. If you write like songs and stuff and you just dabble, or you write down on a notepad, or if you're just so full of ideas, you just write them all down and then see what happens. But sometimes when you're completely exhausted, you just have to stop.
Yeah, that's the best thing for you.
You have to stop. And like, especially if you're physically exhausted as well, try to sort of let things slide. So like, if you're just try not to do anything. Like, it's hard, and, like, you get, obviously, the criticism from others, where they're just like, oh, you're not doing anything. It's like, yeah, because I can't do anything. That's the whole point. You have to reset your brain, because the more you force the stuff to come out, it's not going to be as good. Because I've gone back through writing and think, wow, I was in a fucking bad spell, because you can literally see that it's just, they do this, then they do this stuff, and then put this in here later. Think of something to put here, this bit is shit, and it happens. It happens. It does.
And I think, like, there's full creative exhaustion, but then there's the kind of space between a block and exhaustion, where
when you start feeling the struggle, and you start to feel like you're pushing a rock up a hill.
You're hitting burnout, but you keep going, because, like, for uni, like, when we have deadlines, you have to keep going, and you know you're going to get it done, but you also feel like you're not, but you're putting so much pressure on yourself and burning yourself out to try and create something.
Really, really hard, especially with, like, there's so much negativity behind what we do.
Yeah, like, and you feel like you can't take a day off.
Don't want to put anyone off, but there is negativity too, unfortunately. And sometimes that comes hand in hand with the burnout as well, and the exhaustion, when you just sort of think, fuck this, I'm not doing it anymore.
It's kind of that point at which you do just want to give up because you don't see yourself getting to the other side without making any decent piece of work or anything, but you don't want to take a day off because you think it's going to affect it and you're not going to have time, but taking just a day out can really help. Just take your day away and not feel guilty.
It's just amazing how much, like, especially when you tell people you want to be a writer, they're like, oh, why do you want to do that for? There's no work in it. And you think, the thing is, like, when I wanted to go to uni and I was telling people, they were just like, oh, but what job are you going to get afterwards? What?
Yeah.
There's so much they don't know about writing. Is not just creative stuff. Like, we weren't just learning how to write novels, we learned a lot.
We learned a lot of ourselves as well.
Yeah, exactly. We learned script, we learned poetry, we learned how to write our CVs properly, how to network, how to use social media, and copywriting, which is actually what I'm working in at the moment, which is insane. And just so much you can do with writing. Because they say, oh, what are you going to do? And then you think, well, you watch Netflix, right? You read magazines. You read the newspaper. Someone wrote that. But
and even like
it goes unheard a lot.
there's so much stuff, and like I think we learn very adaptable skills that we can use because you need to be creative in everyday life. And like I know that a lot of our skills we use for Twitch. Like right now, although we're completely winging what we're saying, like we've obviously learned it, but we don't, and we have a basic plot, but we don't know what we're talking about. But through writing and like kind of just knowing the ways you would write it down as like a script, you know the right ways to get things across, you know the links, and like
especially with stuff like Discord, like writing stuff for Discord to tell people you're doing a new thing,
announcements and creating posters,
titles for streams and that sort of stuff,
the simplest things.
Exactly.
I was a total idiot. I tried to drink and eat chocolate and all the bad stuff through it. Like I had to go see my GP and they asked about my drinking, and I hadn't realized how much I was, because I was having like 2 to 3 beers every night plus 2 bags of sweets just to you will do anything to try and keep yourself going.
It's so hard to notice when you get into that slump though. Like I relied on caffeine, like literally energy stuff to keep me going, because I wouldn't have done it otherwise. Like,
have you done anything stupid along those lines, and did you learn anything about your recovery process through doing it?
Anything stupid?
I know that I have done.
I was like, because in the lockdown we all got a bit of extra time to finish our deadlines, and we got like a 2-week extension at one point, and everyone got like a little bit of extension, but I got an extension on top of that because my brain just went kaput.
Yeah, I had
like you'd always see like the smoke out of my ears, just like, yep, burnt, just gone. Completely.
It became a point of, it was, and maybe it sounds unfair to some people, but I think like for us last year, particularly, like we were in lockdown and all our lecturer heard of us was over email or if we video called, and it became a point of, okay, well this is the complete maximum that we can extend the deadline to, and then on a case-by-case basis, depending on how you were handling things, how you were dealing under pressure and being alone and doing it, it was a case-by-case basis as to when your deadline was. And I would say like they did very well at helping us.
A lot of people struggled because obviously with creative writing we didn't have like a big room full of like equipment or like we needed printers or anything, because we just transferred online just like that, because we were already doing that anyway, because we were we were only in like what 2-3 days a week instead of the 4.
We were in like 2 days a week,
because our last project, it was mainly about our own self-study, we called it, sort of like, so we were studying at home, working from home anyway, and obviously a lot of people struggle and they say, oh, the uni could have done so much better, they could have done this, and so it's like, but they did the best they could. Our course is only small. We were the first to graduate our course ever. Like, we always forget that. We're the first to go through the course, and considering how successful we've been doing and how much we've changed, I think they did a bloody good job, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and like
it sounded the most English thing ever, but they did a bloody top job.
Yeah, there are definitely
top
stupid
job.
things
We're the pioneers, yes, Leah. Yeah, pioneers.
Yeah, there are stupid things I've done, which I mean I'm not going to share on stream because this is live. But in terms of the recovery, I think if I learn anything, it's that you have to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you have to.
It's so hard to realise when you're in that slump until someone points it out, almost, or when they come to you and say, "Are you okay?" And you think,
I think you kind of pointed mine out to me.
Yeah, I think we both got to the point because at the end of, I was about 3 days away from deadline, and I realised I needed to. I had so much to add to my essay, and my brain was exhausted at this point, and I could not string a sentence together. I couldn't even cite things properly.
Like, send anything you need to me.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know, and I just sent you it. I think just like I don't know. Just
I remember.
It's like, what have I done?
I remember I hit a complete block, and you were just like, like they're there to help you, because at this point a lot of people had chosen to work independently. They weren't really contacting our lecturers. And it was very much everyone was doing everything on their own, and
it
our
was
lecturers
every man
had
for
a ton of
himself.
Yeah, and like because we had 2 lecturers, and one of them was kind of dealing with first and second year, so that our head lecturer could focus on us.
We were the OG fam. We were at that point.
We were the OGs, and I remember I think
he had a lot of shit to deal with us.
I think I practically had a meeting with him like 3 times a week. We'd meet on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or we'd meet on the Monday and we discussed what I had to achieve that week, and we'd reconvene on Friday and work out what I'd done, what did and didn't work, and how he can like help me finish it. And I think, so that's what I learned, was ask for help, because it makes things easier. Because I'm a perfectionist and would do things on my own.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that, but I got to the point where, like, I had my husband to look after me and sort of keep me motivated and keep me going, and to the point I was exhausted. I couldn't write, and I had 3 days to go till the deadline, and I was like, this is the final deadline. No more extensions, no more nothing. This is happening. I still had like a chapter to edit to go and a load of stuff to add to my essay, and I basically spent 2 days awake. I did not sleep.
I remember that. You were just always awake.
High on caffeine. I had so much caffeine just to keep me going because I knew I had to finish. I had to do it. And I stayed up for 2 nights. I think I slept, 2 hours, but then my brain was just so stressed that I kept waking up. That's like, you have to keep going.
Yeah, I swear I got like a message from you at like 4 a.m. or something, and you were like, I've been on 2 hours sleep and I'm awake again so I can work.
Yeah, I was doing that, and then the night before I was just like, okay, tomorrow afternoon, 12 p.m, that's it. That is the deadline. I need to get it done before that. And like all of my other stuff I'd got done literally the night before. Like it would all finalise. I spend like the day before usually going over everything to make sure I haven't messed anything up, or I misspelled something, like misspelled the title, which I have done. It happens. But and then that night I did not sleep. I stayed awake all night up until Alan stayed up with me. Fucking dedicated bro over there. Husband, yeah. Bro. Dude, bro. But he was working, and I was just like, you need to look this over. I was like, I can't see the mistakes anymore. It just looks like black and white to me. And he was just like, sure, send it to me. So I was like, right, that's done. Sent it to him. We had a little production line going on. I'd send it to him, and then I'd be like, right, I'm working. I was like, oh shit, my essay. And then I was like, oh god. And this was at like 10 at night. I was like, no, it's getting too late. I'm gonna have to keep going. I can't go to sleep now. I can't. So I just kept going and had another energy drink, had more caffeine, had more coffee, and just anything to keep me going, sugar and everything just keep me going. And finally got it like finished, sent it to Alan. He said, oh, there's a few things here that you need to do, and I was like, oh fuck. So then he sent it back to me, and then he was just like, it's really good though, you should be really proud. He was like, I'm really proud of you. I was just like, I know. And then at this point I'm crying, and I'm just like typing. It got to 6 a.m. I finished at 6 a.m. 6:08 I think, and then I was so wired because I submitted it. I was so wired. I stayed awake the rest of the morning to make sure I finished. I did a load of triple edits, quadruple checked everything, and then submitted it at 10 a.m. the next morning, 2 hours before the deadline. And then I sat there going, have I submitted it? And I double checked the emails. And you could, there was a thing where you
request the receipt.
Request that receipt, and it was just like, you submitted on. I'm like, huh. And then I was just like, but then that was the thing, because we weren't at uni. I was
really
like submitted last thing forever at uni. Submitted it. Sat there.
You kind of felt numb.
Like I was sat right here.
The end of my uni experience.
I was literally sat right here, and then I was just like, now what? I was like, well, that's uni done then. And then I went to bed at, midday? No, actually, no, I didn't. I stayed up because I was so wired. I had to wait for the caffeine to get out my system. And then basically, about 6 p.m, I think, crashed. And then I slept for 2 days straight. And then was exhausted. Exhausted for a week after that. Slept for 2 days, and then 3 days stayed sort of in a comatose state. So things get really gross. Things get really, really tough.
Writing is not pretty. And just anything.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something that I think is a good thing to talk about, because I know there's quite a few people that watch us that are still in school and do still have, or like in uni, and they have deadlines and grades and whatever. So when obviously we finished, and doing the final project was a big thing anyway, but it was something that then was made like 10 times harder by lockdown. When you got your grade back for that unit, because I know that I wasn't happy with mine, and like looking back, it's not a bad grade.
No.
It's actually very good, but in comparison to the things I'd done previously, it was a lot lower. And I know that I wasn't happy with it, but then you kind of have to process and take into account what you went through.
I think I expected. I did because I knew with my bigger projects there's more room for error, because most of my stuff was tiny little mistakes that would bring the mark down, and it would piss me off every time. So I made it. Oh, that was it. I remember now. Oh my god, I just remembered. On my laptop, I had post-it notes saying, "You do this a lot. Check for that before you submit. You do this," and it's just like, you always forget to do this, and referencing check before you submit it. And I had so many little like you know where you have like if you imagine like this frame here, I had post-it notes entirely around my laptop screen. So like my screen was like this big, so I had so little room to work with. But it was just I had to because I knew those were the things that would get me down in a grade. But those things I did, but I still made mistakes because
everyone does.
I was brain gone, brain no work no more.
But
and I accepted that. I was just like, yep, there's going to be mistakes. It might be. I was expecting maybe a little less than my usual. My average was like a middle second, so a second sort of thing. But I got what was it? Did I get a 2-1? I think I got a 2-1. So I was like, well, fucking hell! I did not expect to get that.
Yeah.
I expected 2-2 at the most.
Yeah, I got a 2-2, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
But to me, being a perfectionist.
Exactly, yeah. Because we're both quite similar. I was just like, when I went through, I didn't go through the feedback too much like I usually did. But
I have a video of my reaction to my results.
Yeah, I looked through and went, fuck. And then I literally looked through and went, fuck. And it was just like, why did you put this here? I'm like, because it made sense at the time.
And I think, like...
you can be so mean to yourself, but then, like, looking back at it now, I was just like, I was fucked. I was practically at my least creative, at the least energetic, and I still did pretty good. And the whole pandemic thing, the stress of people getting sick, and then all of this stuff, and it was just like, because obviously I live quite far away from my family as well, so I haven't seen my family like properly for a few months. That like in the lockdown, when the lockdown eased, they came down and visited, socially distanced, of course, but that's been like a year now, nearly a year, and stress. But stress is such a terrifying thing. Oh, we're going to have to explain the 2-2 thing.
We'll explain it.
Yeah, we'll explain it.
But I think the important thing to remember is that
you're fucking amazing.
Grades don't define you.
No.
And, you know, I think, you know, you have like A stars, A's, you know, whatever the top grade is in your country, whatever's high, that is what everyone assumes you can achieve and assumes is feasible and is what you should be getting. But that's not true, because everyone learns differently. Everyone's brains are different. Yeah. And if a B is the highest you can achieve, then that's fine. Because I think it's not to everyone else's abilities, it's to your ability and what you can achieve. Yeah. And if you've achieved what you've set out to do, that's enough.
It was good that the first year of marks didn't technically count to the final grade, because I could see my average, what my sort of average was. Because we did so much. Like, we didn't just do creative writing. If we did literally just creative writing and novel writing, I would have probably been at like a just over into a first, so one of the highest, like a lower first, which is really pretty good. And then because we did script writing as well, I wasn't as good as that as I thought. So obviously my grade was a little bit lower for that unit. And then poetry wasn't good at that either. And then all the academic stuff. Some people aren't academic. Some people struggle with academic stuff. And that brought my grade down a little bit more. So the average was roughly a 2-1 or a 2-2, which is pretty good. So I thought, as long as I get within that, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and if I don't, for some reason, I was just like, I know how fucked up my brain was.
Trying to make that shit work. Trying to find participants visa testing. It was weird and lonely. Said, yeah, it is a weird feeling too. Like you just end and there's no one around.
Yeah, it was stressful. Yeah. Just I didn't talk to anyone. I think I messaged you a couple of times saying I did it, or I took a photo of the submit button, me clicking it. I was like, done. And then after that, I just crashed and didn't speak to anyone.
2-2, 2-1. I was one grade off fucking first. Oh, that would be annoying you. First average throughout uni 2-1, average B throughout uni 2-2, average C. Yeah, so pretty much
it's out. The points are out of 100, isn't it?
Yeah, so the highest you can get is a first, so that's like 100%. So that was anywhere from 70 plus. Yeah. The second highest was a 2-1, which is I think what a lot of people aim for because it's more feasible. Which is, and then below that you get a 2-2.
No,
then you get a third.
A 40.
And under a third
Mark 40 is a pass, so that's you're into like third territory. Like there's a lower third, upper third. There's like a higher and lower of each one, isn't there?
I swear it's just third, 2-2, 2-1 first.
Yeah, I think there is a third.
40 to 49.
There is, yeah. Alan says there is, yeah.
A third is basically a pass.
Third is basically pass. Yeah.
50 to 59 was a 2-2. 60 to 69 is 2-1, and then 70 plus was a first. Yeah. So I averaged at a 2-1 every year, but I got
1-2-2, and it brought me down that little bit, and I was really pissed off.
Yeah, but I had got 2-1s off firsts individually in each of my assignments up until the final project when I got a 2-2, which is why I
think I literally got a 2-2 or a 2-1 for everything except for one thing, and that really annoyed me. But that's it. The only thing that annoyed me, I was I was so close to getting a first, so close by like 2 points or something stupid. But I was even more annoyed that it was like 1 point away from 69, and it was going to be really fucking hilarious. I just really wanted that. I was just like, that was what annoyed me the most, was that I was just like, oh, so close yet so far. Straight up priorities, yeah. I was like, I'm not a first person, so as long as I get the 69 level.
So I guess, kind of leading on from that is linked with how you deal with negativity.
We kind of touched on this earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, and towards your grades. And I think in terms of like other people we talked about, in terms
I accepted
it. You just have to accept it.
Yeah, I dealt with it with humour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like my first thought when I saw the result, I was just like, oh, it's so close to a first. But then my brain was like, I beat my average just by like 1 point, I think. And I was just like, hell yeah, nicely done. Like 2-1 as a final grade was pretty good. And then I was just like, oh, it would have been so funny to get 69 then. And then my brain sort of went that side of things, and then it was a lot funnier. Yeah. But
I think Yeah,
but
with self-negativity.
it's feedback. It's hard. I think feedback is something that a lot of writers and creative people are scared of.
Feedback is always hard to take because there'll always be one person that doesn't like it, and it will knock you down. You gotta remember is you're your biggest critic.
Yeah.
And like, so realistically, no one is going to be more critical of what you do than yourself. And so if you can be somewhat proud of yourself for the things that you've done, if you have a set goal, like I know I now have goals for streaming or goals for writing that I want to achieve in a day. If I can hit the minimum goals, I've succeeded and I don't have to beat myself up about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people think that like as soon as you get like, it's like, oh, I did my goals, and it's like, oh, but I was so close to doing something else. I could have done this as well. And it's that I could have done is usually
it's the what if I'd done more.
It's like, what if I'd done more? But obviously we're, as writers, we're trained to ask the what if questions in writing, but we do that to ourselves too, which is not great.
Yes, and I'm going to say something, and it's a quote that really annoys me, but it really is true, and if G-Man was here, he'd probably laugh his head off. But he always tells me perseverance is key. And I hate him for saying it, but it is true. It is, but it is something that gets stuck in your head.
It's like,
every time...
It's like, if you give up, it's like, what do you do then?
Yeah, like every time I'm questioning myself, his annoying voice comes into my head and says perseverance is key.
But it is though. That's the thing. The things we do, the things we've said to each other, just like, it's like, oh, I fucking hate writing. I never want to do it again. But guess who is still there doing it?
Like even
that's the thing. That, like the thing you fall back on is that you enjoy it. Like going back to the thing, it's like if you don't enjoy it, then that is literally your last thing. And if the negativity gets to you and you're not enjoying what you do, then you want to quit, and you're like more likely to. But.
Which is why I always do the things that you enjoy. Always. Like.
Yeah. Always.
We just use the present age scale in Canada. You need a minimum of 60% in each course to graduate, and you have to pass certain learning achievements like completing 320 hours of an internship or a co-op placement. We don't technically use ABC, etc., but we translate it to the letter grade equivalent in common conversation because it sounds better to say I got an A+ in my business mathematics than just saying I got 98%.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But yeah, you have to do what you enjoy.
Yeah. It's...
Otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah, and if you're not enjoying it, and then you get negativity that thinks, oh yeah, that just proves that I don't enjoy what I do, then it can just knock you down. And but we've shit on writing so much, haven't we, Ray?
We actually have, yeah.
It's just like, this fucking book, I hate it, and then you're just like, but I like it. It's like, I know, but I hate it, and then it's just, there's so much negativity that is yourself as well as other people's opinions. Like, it comes to a point when you say fuck people's opinions, but then you're the one person that you can't get away from or just ignore because it's obviously you. So yeah, but how do you deal with negativity? Is there like a specific thing you do?
Normally
except yeet. Just get out my life.
Okay, so it kind of depends because I think it also depends on kind of just how your mood is, because there are days when I literally would just be like, I don't care, yeet, by negativity, I don't need you. And then there are other days when
it's just that one thing you just like, you're having a bad day already, and then one thing could just knock you down. And
normally I let it consume me, which you should never do.
Sometimes you can't help it though. Sometimes it's one of those things.
It happens, but I think the way to deal with it is to talk to people you trust, because they'll help you see the realistic side of things. And it's like, they might be like, yeah, okay, you are gonna feel that way, and like they kind of help you to justify how you feel and then give you the kind of step ladder to get out of the hole you're in.
That was one thing that I'm really grateful that we learnt first, was that we didn't have to share if we didn't want to. Yeah. Until we got like confident, and he said, obviously you take it.
I ever really did.
Yeah. It took us months to share something, but then once we did, it got easier. It got easier though, didn't it? And then obviously teaching people not to say nasty stuff for the sake of nasty stuff that's not actually helpful, that was also a big help. Because most of the comments were just like, oh, I would suggest changing this. Maybe you could do that. Like, maybe, instead of do that because that's better. Do that because that's wrong. Because that's not right. like, there's no, like, specific answer to anything.
Like, and I feel like...
But that's the thing.
That's
where the whole thing comes in. That's the whole negativity, is usually because it's like, oh, I don't like that. But why? Why don't you like that? That was the whole thing. You had to have a reason, a justified reason.
Oh my god, you always did. But I think this is where, like, for us, like, we got really adaptable skills, because in learning that with just, like, sharing work, it went into everything. So I know, like, for me, like, sharing work, I gradually got used to. But something that I still, by the end of, like, by the time we graduated, something I still couldn't handle was when someone would be sat next to me and they'd be going through my work there and then in front of me, and I could see their reactions, and I could see how they were doing it. Like, I physically couldn't do it.
Yeah.
My lecturer would tell me to go get a coffee and come back.
Yeah, go get a coffee and come back. Because no one likes being, like, critiqued in person next.
And I think that's where our skills are adapting, because I know, like, I'm still not comfortable with it, but, like, we throw ourselves on stream. We are live. We have to deal with the issues that arise.
We don't have time to edit, basically.
No, there is no edit. There is no, okay, I'll worry about this problem later. It's happening now and it needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, like,
and
you
that's
know,
the thing. No one's perfect either, because things happen on stream where we react in real time because we have a justified reason to react, and then you think, oh fuck, afterwards you think, oh god, that looked so bad on camera. But then you think, but
you're human.
But that's how you react. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's like how anyone would react, and it can feel so horrible during the time. And people are literally like watching us right now. To hate to mention it, but it's just
hi guys.
Hi. It's one of those things where it's getting used to criticism, open criticism.
I think that's kind of the other reason we wanted to do this stream, is because everyone sees us as gamers. Everyone sees us on stream doing a stream. And right now, although we're streaming, this is how we are. This is how we feel. And, like, we're human.
We make mistakes, believe it or not.
And we make mistakes, and we try not to show things on stream from real life. We just try to smile and game. And it's like, whether it's streaming, writing, just general creativity, just life, it's not perfect. It's never gonna be perfect.
People are gonna have different opinions, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Because
the way you deal with it is
the way you deal with it is you. If your creativity and your mindset and what you do works for you, and it makes you happy.
That's the thing. Getting like a tough skin for, like, comments, or, like, even on work or feedback on anything you do, it takes time. Because the first time someone said, oh, I wouldn't do that, I'd put this instead, I'd be like, why didn't I think of that? I'm so dumb. And, like, that's what literally happens. But now they're just like, oh, you could do this. And I'm just like, oh, that's so obvious. And they're like, yeah, but I like the way you did it, but I think this would be better. That's all you need to do. You don't need to say that shit.
Communicating. Definitely.
It was the whole thing. A trick that we were taught was to do the, what was it, 2 stars, 1 wish?
Yeah, which you're actually taught from, like, primary school and a young age.
Yeah.
It talked about those good. It was like a
sandwich. 2 things that you really like, and then 1
like,
thing you wish they did.
Yeah, it was like, give them something good, and then give them something they can work upon, but then come back with something else that's good.
Yeah.
And I think that is the way to do it.
Yeah, but it like, I've actually adopted that in actual real life. Like, it's just like, oh, I really loved the way that this stream looked. It was so cool. Like, the overlay was amazing. And it's just like, oh, but I wish that, oh, you could have had this little thing at the bottom. That'd been so cool. And then be like, oh yeah, and also that filter you had on your webcam was really cool. That's it. That's how it works.
Just I hated my course of study with a passion. I hate tech. I hate code. It's so fucking dumb. But I love some aspects of it, and things are beautiful when they work. Literally, perseverance through problem solving, definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes all you need is someone else to say, yeah, that's fucking dumb. You do, because you don't see things yourself. Yeah. And you feel better. There are no... Yeah.
Like, because we're writers, we can tell people that they're fucking dumb without saying that they're fucking dumb.
I love that. There are no edits, just background Allens. I am human. We have been at human TED Talk.
I love the fact when I was talking about my grade, it was God just because imagine your teacher, you scored 69, Foxy, nice. Pretty much, yeah. And I was just like, oh, so close to nice, but not that close. But that's the thing, like sometimes you can tell people to be just like, oh, you're so fucking dumb. But sometimes, like, saying that is not the best thing, but meaning it is different. So, like, if you said it's just like, it's like, you know you did this, right? And then they go, ah, fuck. And then you're like, there it is. So you don't tell them that they're being fucking stupid. But it's just like, you know, you did this, right? It's like, did you mean to do that? And then you're like, hang on, what? And then you read it, and then you're like,
said we are human. I love it, Hugh. Love it.
Said we are human, I am too, yes.
But yeah, I think that's the other thing, in terms of, like, negativity, but also, like, other people building you up, and we're talking about the creative mind. Everyone is different, and I feel like you have to think creatively about how you approach different people. Because the way, say you gave Foxy and I the same pointers on writing and said you could do something different, you could say it the same way to both of us, but we could take it very differently. Like, one of us could not be effective, one of us could, and it's because we're different people, we're human. We all have ways of doing things and taking on stuff, and you have to be creative in the way that you come across to different people. You have to adapt.
Yeah, you can't say the same thing to everyone.
No.
Because
there is no simple way.
like if Helen called me a fucking dumbass, I'd be like, I know. But then if he said, like, you're a fucking dumbass to someone else, they might just cry in the corner.
I'll just cry.
And be really sad.
Be like, my father hates me.
And that's how things are. So we learnt how to give criticism, but in a creative way that isn't harmful, that isn't negative, but it has a positive spin on it. Because, like, saying, oh, I don't like that is not helpful. It's not helpful in any way.
You need to explain it, but you also need to say it in a way that doesn't come across as, I hated it.
Yeah, because
be like, this is good.
You can hate something, but I feel like hating it is a strong word. But if you're like, oh, I didn't like this because this, it's just,
if you can justify why you don't like something, it's normally fine. And as long as you come
once we knew
way,
that the feedback we get would be like that, and that we wouldn't get like, oh, I don't like this, then we were so confident sharing our work. We got so much better because we knew we wouldn't get like, oh, I don't like that. Like, there was, like, it took us ages to be critical to people because we were so scared about offending people.
Oh my gosh. And
it takes so much, like, what was it we used to do? It was just like that, oh, I really like this bit. And you think, well, why? So
elaborate. We had, particularly in first year when we didn't know each other, we could either give each other, like, nice stuff or tough love.
Yeah, you tell people, it's like, hey, criticize the shit out of this, please. And then
you could say whether you wanted them to go all out or if you just wanted them to say,
it's like, pick it to bits, or just say, like, just give me so much praise, I need the praise right now. And then they would. It's the thing, you ask people,
and I know, like, will. by like the final year, and even now with me and Foxy, I could give her my work and she would just be like, I don't like this bit. And then she'd tell me why, and I'd be like, cool, that's fine, because I know that Foxy is my target audience for most things, so I know that if she doesn't like it, a lot of other people probably won't.
I'm your target
but again, it's about perspective, because if she's gone, I don't like it, and I'm just like, again, no, she's one person, and other people might. You have to,
and like, if something in someone's work doesn't make sense, just tell them. It's like, oh, by the way, I wasn't sure what you meant by that. I read it as this, but I think you meant it. I think you meant it the other way. And then you basically have a conversation about it. That's why we were taught to talk it through, not just take the feedback back and just, because you can, like, words are subjective. People can read whatever they want to read. So obviously reading written feedback is obviously difficult. So obviously talk to people and make them understand.
Hello, Burns. Welcome on in.
Hi, Burns. Oh, they're new. Hi, new person.
Also, giving pointers doesn't always work for the same people like that, because some will take the point on board, but others will discard it, and they may or may not improve based on it. All criticisms may be valid to give, but not all criticisms actually lead to growth. Yeah, I know that a lot of times you'll tell people things that could be improved upon, and they don't take it on board, and that's perfectly okay, because again,
we basically say,
you.
if I was you, I would do this, but obviously you
me.
and then if they're like, oh, I don't know because I really like what I did, it's just like, then you do what you want to do. It's like what you think is best. If I was like, then the one thing that we'd say a lot was, well, both ideas do work. It's not that one didn't, one didn't. It's like both ideas work. Just choose whichever one you like and then settle on that. And
I think something we learned is early on, if our lecturers told us something that they thought wasn't right and could be done a different way, because they were our lecturers, we'd do it because we assumed that they were right. But then forgetting that we're also right, there isn't one way to do something. And by third year, I know that I'd get feedback from them and I wouldn't take it on board, because although it is a good idea, it does work, it's not my idea, it's not the way I want to do it. Yeah, you have to always look out for yourself first. And like,
if you go with some feedback and you don't like it, that's going back to the whole don't write what you don't like sort of thing, or don't do what you don't like or that you don't want, because
and even if
because you're not going to like it then. If you get something published and you think, oh, I wish I'd changed my idea, I wish I'd stuck with what I wanted to do, then it's going to hurt. And but
even if you don't pay attention to it in that set, keep it in the back of your mind, because you could be writing something else and not really know what to do with it, and then remember that piece of advice and be like, that could work here.
It's like, don't discard anything. Anything could be useful. It might just not be the right time for that. But yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, no, I used to cheat on stuff at school. It happens. My teachers helped us cheat because then it looked good on them. I said nothing.
What did you say? I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to hear.
Didn't hear anything.
You heard absolutely. But yeah, so I think it's always just to remember, like, everyone is creative, even if you don't think you're a creative person. You will always do things creatively without thinking, and you just have to always hold on to that.
Yeah, like there's so many people out there, like going back to what we said about people, it's like, oh, writing's not a real job. That's the one thing we hate. The one thing we hate is it's not a real job.
And it's like
we're going back to this newspaper's dumbass.
And like, it can be. There is writing in everything, and at the end of the day, I didn't go to uni to study creative writing to get a job out of it at the end. I went to uni to study creative writing because it's something that I loved to do, and I wanted to expand my knowledge on it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And I think it's the same with like plots and saying, like, you don't want to plan things too loosely. You don't want to plan your life. You need to keep it loose, because life is unpredictable. We didn't, like, just over a year ago, we didn't know that we were going to end up in a pandemic. We didn't know things that would happen.
You just don't know.
You have to learn to adapt, and if you adapt slowly, like me, that's fine. You get there in the end. You just have to always think outside the box and carry on.
Or sometimes screw the box altogether.
Yeah, just throw it out the window.
Throw
and
the
pick
box
up, like,
in the
container,
bin.
a recycled container from like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It all works.
If you can't put yourself in the box or outside the box, get rid of the fucking box. Basically. Life lessons with Ray and Foxy. Get rid of the box.
A free elf. I'm Dobby. I've got a sock. I'm a free elf now.
I think our lecturer